Hello, everybody. Welcome to another match of Goose Game Speedrunning. I'm going to be Hippocampus commentating, but that's not important. What is important is we've got PhilTrout and Ritzblues here ready to go. Just a little bit of background on these guys. PhilTrout, our favorite fish, currently 6th on the leaderboard for 90% Glitchless with a PB of 13 minutes and 59 seconds. He's coming off a win against Mrs. Candria. Then we got Ritzblues over here. He's currently 11th on the board with a personal best of 14 minutes and 37 seconds, coming off a win against Disden. Alright. I don't really like doing any chat or anything, so I'm going to go ahead and give these guys a countdown when they're ready. Alright, and they should be off momentarily. So now a little bit of the background for what's at stake here. This is in the winners bracket. Oh, somebody just went back to the desktop. Everybody good? There's a little bit of background. So this is a winners bracket match, which means you will see both of these runners again, no matter if they win or lose. There they go. Okay. And the loser will go on to face Shady Force in the losers bracket, while the winner goes on to face the unknown. Depends on who wins the match between Tasselflirt and Recult, which is at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Here we can see that they're getting to the gate, and there's a little clip that they can go for. Ritz didn't quite get it, but PhilTrout gets it nicely. It looks like a glitch. It is not a glitch because we don't use a prop. That's how we separate glitches from exploits in this particular community. If it uses a prop to warp through something, it's a glitch. If not, it's just an exploit, and that's okay in this category. We've got bad RNG for both the runners here. Willie here could be close and get wet, which is ideal, or it could be far and not get wet, which is the worst. Both of them got far and not wet, unfortunately, so they'll be starting off a little bit slower than they'd probably like to be. So the way this game works, for anybody that's not entirely sure, is you're Goose, and you have a few tasks that you have to complete in order to advance and steal a golden bell, which is probably going to be at least 14 minutes from now, if not a little bit more. But the first of these tasks is to torture a guy named Willie, including taking his hat, taking his keys, taking his rake, which unfortunately Ritz was noticed there stealing the rake, so he'll have to, and a swag rake on PhilTrout, where it stands straight up. So now we're seeing Ritz having to deal with the fact that Willie happened to notice. That'll be a bit of a time loss, but it's not as terrible depending on how you deal with it. Looks like he's compensating fine. And a lot of this game is all routing and cycles, along with RNG and manipulation. So right now, they both managed to get all the tasks complete, which adds on a final task. In this case, is make Willie hammer his thumb. And you can see them moving some objects around and all that. That's all part of that manipulation. We're not entirely sure what does what quite yet, but later on in the game, we want Willie to be out of our way, and hopefully the objects they moved will do so. Tight race here as they both get into high streets pretty similar times, maybe a second or two off. The first thing you're going to see them do is take that spade and have Willie follow them. This is a relatively new strat. The old strat used to be to get Timmy, the kid that is currently being bullied into the phone booth, to buy back his plane. But what we're going to see here instead is Phil and Ritz will get Willie to buy back his spade. One of the quests we do in this particular section. Unfortunately for Ritz, it seems like Willie does not care about his spade, which is odd because it looks like it's on there pretty good. So Ritz will be going ahead and trying to get him to focus back on that spade. Having a little bit of difficulty there though. Meanwhile, PhilTrout's going to be stealing away Timmy's glasses to make him wear the wrong ones. Interesting here. Alright, so we can see Phil trying to pop the brush off, and Ritz did not give him glasses by the looks of it. So I don't know how he plans on getting that done, but I'm sure he's got something in mind. It's an unfortunate battle with the shopkeeper here in the room. What we're seeing Phil do here is try to get the shopkeeper's attention and lure her into this garage to promptly lock her in said garage. Perfect. Which will eventually advance him to the next section, which is back garden. It may seem like Phil has a pretty good lead here, but this game has so many opportunities for time gains and time losses that it's actually still anybody's race, really. Okay, as PhilTrout nears back gardens, there's two NPCs relevant to this section. It's Roger and Tina, as we like to call them. It's actually neat and messy neighbor, respectively. And as you can see, the first order of torture is to steal Roger's slipper. Now, unfortunately, I think Phil did not hide the slipper well enough, or Roger may know where the slipper was because of when he honked. But only time will tell. And Phil just took advantage of Roger's programming there too, by making him throw an object over the fence into the messy neighbor's lawn. He's having a little bit of difficulty getting Roger to comply here, as he chased him all the way down to the bottom, which is not good because he'll start to take his objects back, and he wants to get the objects through the gate, like so. Doesn't seem like it's going to be that bad of a time loss because he'll just steal it back there. And Ritzblues, you can see him going through the same method, a little bit cleaner there, and he has both objects hidden in the fastest spot possible. PhilTrout's taking advantage of the time gain he had from High Streets, though. You can also see that Tina's dressing the bust there. That can be a very finicky task. We saw that Phil was carefully timing when he was dropping the objects at her feet, because if you drop one object while she's holding another, she'll drop the object she's holding to grab the next one. This is also a good opportunity to mention here that Ritz is not doing so, and we might be able to see what I was talking about when it comes to Tina. Nope, looks like she's doing alright there. Here we can see that Phil used the bow to lure Tina faster down to the bottom. She would have eventually done it anyways, but it's faster to have her chase you than for her to leisurely stroll down to do her thing. And he's going to quickly jump out, hit the bush, grab the vase, and honk to get her attention, in the hopes that Tina will stay down in the lower garden for the next task and avoid her seeing her vase break in about 30 seconds. The time loss that comes with her seeing the broken vase would be they have an argument about it that prioritizes over pretty much any other task, unfortunately. But it seems like she did not notice it, so he'll be advancing nicely. The final task of Backgrounds is to have someone prune the prize rose. As we can see, he's also going to grab the bra because it does not slow us down like the sock does, because it's a ragdoll object instead of a solid object. And once again, having Tina chase instead of leisurely walk to the sign, make it a little bit faster. And we can see another example of RNG manipulation going on Trout's side. Meanwhile, we got Ritzblues trying to catch up here by stealing Roger's other slipper. He has to wait for the T-cycle, unfortunately. The T-cycle being when Roger has his T. You can't steal the slipper until he's back on his T-cycle because his foot will be on the ground. So unfortunately, he didn't quite get the timing he wanted there, but it's still serviceable. And Phil will be entering into the pub now, having Vinny chase him and fall flat on his face. The first thing that he'll do is be awarded a flower by showing off to those two fine ladies on the picnic table. And he'll continue on to an old man task. Now, the old man task he's going to be doing here is to make him fall on his bum. There's two that you can possibly do, and which one you do first depends on what he happens to be doing when you get there. And we can see Ritzblues now heading over to pub after he gets through this sign here. As PhilTrout goes on to dump a mug in the canal. Perfect. No breaking. Now, that's actually a little bit scarier than it seems, because there's a lot of opportunities to either get chased and drop the mug, or to otherwise drop the mug on even the grass reeds in the canal can break the mug, and you'll have to redo it all over again, should that happen. And it looks like we have a confused old man finally going for a stool now that he saw it. Which means, unfortunately, Phil will have to wait a little bit longer to do the dart cycle, which is the second task that we do for the old man, as Ritzblues gets in smoothly to the pub. Now, the one consistent thing about pub is the last task you want to do is called Steal the Toy Boat. And it's what we're seeing PhilTrout turn on that faucet for here. And the reason we want to do this last is because it gives us an opportunity to influence where Pub Lady, the lady chasing PhilTrout right now, is, because she's the one that starts the final progression task. Ritzblues with an opportunity to catch up here as he gets back into the pub, ready to go for the next task. What we also just saw there is Phil hid where the toy boat is. That way she will not prioritize it and she won't go to look for it. And we can see that Pub Lady is now looking for the sign. While she's doing that, PhilTrout's going to get Vinny's attention, Vinny being the old man there, so that he'll be over here and able to hear that honk he just did. The final task we have to do is dump a bucket on his head, so we want him over here. As Ritzblues is playing peekaboo and dancing with Pub Lady to go ahead and get that toy boat. I'm going to take this opportunity to describe what Bell mode is. For the entirety of this game so far, all the NPCs have had their own kind of cycles that they go through, like the old man alternating between harmonica and darts. Now, once PhilTrout gets past this little section here, he's going to grab a shiny gold bell. That shiny gold bell is really important to the people of this town because it is their absolute priority. If they see him or see the goose with this bell, they will chase no matter what. And that's what is so exciting about the last minute to 2 minutes of this run. Ritzblues doing a good job of getting Vinny into position here as Phil begins to button mash. Fortunately, Ritzblues is also fighting Pub Lady, not losing any time to it though because he's stuck to however long it takes Vinny to get up and do his thing anyways. And it's on. PhilTrout is now getting back out of the model village. Once again, that is not a glitch, it's an exploit right there, even though it does use a prop. And Phil's #1 objective now is make it all the way back to the beginning of the game with that shiny bell. He might have to fight tooth and nail to get it. Unfortunately, Vinny's in a very bad spot, so he'll be losing some time here. But he's dealing with it nicely, getting Vinny's attention around the other side. We're probably also going to see what's called a stun out of him. But maybe not here. It depends on the placement of Box Girl. No, it should be fine. Okay. As Ritzblues is pulling down the castle now. So we tend to use the stun mechanic I just talked about here, which is dropping the bell, but Phil's not doing it, interestingly enough. Instead, opting to lure her around instead. You might have to fight Roger here a little bit. Nope, now he's using stun. So what he's doing there is he's ducking while running and dropping and grabbing the bell. When you do that, there's a chance any NPCs that are chasing the goose will ignore the goose and stop trying to run after the goose. They will still try to pick up the bell, but they'll do a little shock animation instead, which slows them down and helps us out. Unfortunately, Ritz is having some bad luck here with the placement of the box scroll, and he needs to get the bell back. It'll be interesting to see how he deals with this situation, as PhilTrout is seemingly in the clear. Only person he has left to deal with is Willy. And let's see if that RNG manipulation earlier pays off. It did. So now PhilTrout's in the clear as Ritz is once again battling to get that bell out of pub. It can be a pain. Alright, can he get it here out of pub? Or is Box still going to get it one more time? Alright, PhilTrout is finished, so GG to him on the first race. Yep, not quite sure why I decided to pop up the second hat there for a second. So we're going to go ahead and see if Ritz would like to either finish off this run, or if he'd like to get reset and ready to go for the next one. Interesting, actually, for Ritzblues there. Typically, the shopkeeper will always prioritize grabbing the broom rather than going to grab the bell, but unfortunately, it seems the shopkeeper did not care to even look at the broom. Yeah, it looks like Ritz is going to go ahead and finish it. He's close enough anyways. So we can see what his RNG manipulation ended up doing for him. Bad luck there with Willy's placement, but he's adapting to it well, and he should be in the clear now too. Into the pit, and final time is 16:30 there for Ritzblues, with PhilTrout taking it 14:32. As soon as both runners are ready, we will begin into the second race of the series. Looks like they're both ready now. Go ahead and get the countdown started. And they should be off swiftly. After this momentary Dragon Ball Z desktop. Alright, they should be off any second now. There they go. Lots of honking on this blue side. He's excited. He knows what's at stake here. He wants to stay in the winner's bracket. Let's see those gate clips, boys. Alright, so it's not quite a clip, but Ritzblues did hover over it there, which is perfectly fine as well, because it's the same glitch, just a little bit differently, as PhilTrout clips right on through perfectly. Let's see the RNG here for Willy. Ritzblues a little bit more fortunate here, with Willy being right by the gate. Unfortunately, not getting him wet, but still rather quick. He was noticed through the gate, though, so that did slow him down, and both runners are on very comparable paces right now. Next order of business will be the tulip and the hat. Now, the way that they run this hat into the garden is normally very specific for each runner. They're trying to make sure that Willy is adequately confused. In this case, Ritzblues unfortunately gets unlucky again, while PhilTrout was not even chased by Willy, which for him is actually not all that bad because that does mean he can just take the rake without worry, and Ritzblues has adapted well and will be taking it in now. Once again, a very close race for our gardens here, and they'll be moving on to their RNG manipulations. And we can see that they're using different objects, trying to get different effects. I don't think it's entirely known what does what when it comes to this RNG manipulation, but we're hoping to keep him out of the way for that bell return that we saw earlier. Very, very tight race so far, as they start to put Timmy back into the phone booth and untie his shoe or shoes. Fortunately, Willy hasn't quite walked away from Ritz enough for his liking, but he gets it now. Now, the hopes for this section, PhilTrout will probably get here, is to break the broom right before she drops it to go and do the sale. Looks like they both got it, actually. GG to both of them, and that keeps them right on track with each other. It's a little bit behind because of some movement issues, but not too bad as they both steal his glasses away. Next order of business will be stealing some more sunglasses. What we just saw PhilTrout try to do with all the honking is break the animation cycle for the shopkeeper. Did not work out there. It's a bit of a long shot sometimes. Both of them doing very nicely, closing the garage door near perfectly in sync. Got some honking from PhilTrout now, rallying up the troops. And out of the garage and into back gardens. This is a close one, and this is where RNG really comes into play too. So let's see how they can play around with Roger and Tina to improve their odds here. So there's about 5 segments of this race, and this is the first one where runs go to die, because so many random events can happen, and so much stuff needs to be adapted to on the fly if something goes wrong. For instance, Roger here is focusing on his slipper on Ritzblues' side. If he bumps him, if the Goose bumps an NPC while they're standing still and confused about an object, it will put them over to the next priority, but we did not see that happen there. Both runners, once again, very close here. As Phil begins to dress the bust, and Ritz is getting the pipe now. Looks like both the runners got lucky, with Tina staying in the upper gardens this time. There is a little bit of manipulation you can do there with all the honking, but sometimes there's just nothing you can do. This is best case scenario for both of them here. PhilTrout with perfect timing between the bell ring and the bust dressing. Likewise with Ritz. Now we can see them hiding this statue here. This is one of the first opportunities I've noticed where physics can really come into play, and if that just jumps around and she notices the statue, it can be really hard to get her to dress you with the bow. We can see some very specific timing here for Ritzblues, waiting for her to turn away as he puts on the tie on the gate. That way she does not notice him get into position to be dressed. Also good luck by PhilTrout. Perfect timing on the cycle to have Roger be sipping his tea again. And vase handed perfectly over to him. Unfortunately, Tina seemed to follow him up there though, which means she will definitely notice this vase dropping if he can't get her down again, which it looks like he's doing. This is an opportunity for Ritzblues to take the lead again, which it looks like he will be doing. Phil having some issues there when it comes to the gate and Tina, because she finished her last task so efficiently that he had to get her back on task, or back on cycle. And now we got Ritzblues looking like he's got a pretty decent lead here, but once again, Pub is also very RNG heavy and very much a battle of cycles. Getting a couple of unfortunate pushbacks from Tina there too, but compensating well and getting on through. Phil once again going for his crazy RNG manipulations. Poor frog statue. And takes the hat again too. Ooh, getting pushed back further than Ritz did there too, so a little bit of bad luck there. Smooth pub entry from Ritz there. And shaking the Goose booty to be awarded that flower. Here we can see that Ritz is on the dart cycle. It does not matter which cycle you're on, really. You just want to do the old man first here, before you do the mug. Perfect timing, and onwards. It looks like he'll probably have a chase on his hands here. And he does. This does give him an opportunity to get what's called a free boat, where the pub lady will be so far away that you have plenty enough time to get the boat without her having to chase you around and be uncomfortably timed and all that. And PhilTrout is into pub now. Bit of dumb luck there for Ritz, where Vinny is now chasing him again, so he's going to be losing all that time. But he's taking advantage of it and going to turn the faucet on now. And then he'll be going down to the old man again to see what's going on. He is noticed by Vinny, though. That can play into it a little bit, because it'll be hard for him to complete this task with Vinny chasing. That's for sure. In fact, I'm actually kind of interested in seeing how he's going to pull it off. It's going to be incredibly close time here. Ooh. Pushed around. Kept his attention, though, with a honk. There he goes. Alright, now on to the toy boat. Interesting point of note, I don't know if Vinny prioritizes finding the toy boat, so he may be in the clear here. I believe Ritz is in the clear to continue on to the next task, wherever Pub Lady may be. With PhilTrout controlling Pub Lady, getting her to chase him around so that she does not go to turn the drain back off. Unfortunate pub lady for Ritzblues. She's taking her sweet old time getting back into the pub and prioritizing the sign. As we saw in the last race, she has to make it all the way to the back of the pub, and she will not walk any faster than that for really any reason that's worth our time. So it looks like PhilTrout may be taking the lead again here, as he gets Vinny to chase him on over to Pub Lady. And yep, PhilTrout does take the lead here. Very close race still. Both of them are still very much in it. as the bell return is still an incredibly hard part to do sometimes, depending on chance. Bit of juggling between Pub Lady and Box Girl there, but losing no time because once again PhilTrout's waiting for the for Vinny to finish his task anyways. Getting a little bit stuck there, but not losing much time over it, opening the gate up. As Phil swims under the bridge at 11:37. Pretty good timing. Ritzblues following it up shortly. Probably going to be about 11:47. We can see them kind of walk over the fence there. It's not a glitch. You can do that at home, kids. Go ahead and exploit it. All you gotta do is just bend your neck over the fence right where that little tree is, and up and over you go. Alright, Phil has entered the bell return as Ritz is pulling down the castle. It's going to be interesting to see how they adapt and overcome here. Like I said, very much either racer can still win this one here. Unfortunate placement for Vinny. Seems to be adapting alright to it. Phil's got quite the conga line going. Looks a lot like a Call of Duty zombie. But using his stuns effectively to keep them off of him. And hurry on back to the pit. Ritzblues going a little bit of a different idea. But he also should be pretty smooth sailing from here on out. Might have to stun him once or twice. Very good manipulation there by PhilTrout. And he'll be right on through Roger without having to stun him once. Ritz also controlling Roger very, very well here. I have a bit more interesting of a chase here, but outpaces him nicely. You can see that the shopkeeper has not grabbed her broom, and he will be miles ahead of the shopkeeper. Unfortunately, oh, nope. TV's shopkeeper did not care either, apparently. Timmy's a coward. He'll pretend to be brave and go after you, but the second you hawk at him, he runs away. So now we just have to see PhilTrout's luck when it comes to Willie here. Good luck. He's in the clear. The worst case scenario you can get is sometimes Willie will go back and buy a spade. If he gets far enough through that animation, Willie will be right in this aisle that Ritz is at right now. And that's very unfortunate because it's very hard to compensate for that. Here we can see that the race is close. The PhilTrout's going to get it, barring any strange exceptions. And in. So GG to our favorite fish over there, PhilTrout. And hopefully I'll be able to get them both in here for some interviews as to how they felt this went. So congratulations to both runners here. Very respectable times, and that second race was certainly a nail-biter all the way through. Coming right down to Model Village. Pardon me as I try to get them invited into the server. not seem to do that. Unfortunately, I seem to be unable to invite them in, so I'm not entirely sure if we'll be able to get an interview, unfortunately. Yep, I'm unable to create an invite in. All right, that one worked. So we got Ritzblues here. And there's PhilTrout. Perfect. Sorry, it took a little bit there.
Hey, guys.
So congratulations to both runners there. Certainly a nail biter for that second race, especially. Coming right
What
down
was
Llama
your
Village.
time, Phil? I gotta know.
14:39 on that.
Oh, wow.
It was incredibly close.
Yeah, I had some real issues there. Tina wouldn't let me out for some reason, and
Yeah,
then
you both actually had issues with her on the second race.
Vinny wouldn't let me in. Tina's been actually doing that to me lately. Ever since I started like messing up a yard. So it's weird. I think you have to be like really close to her when you try to get through that gate initially.
Yeah. First run, I missed the spade buy. I haven't done that in a long time. And it took a bit of doing, but I managed to get him to actually buy it instead of having to go for the plane.
I noticed that. It was actually very interesting to me because it looked like you placed it pretty well on there, but for some reason it didn't want to count it.
Yeah, but luckily the shopkeeper put it on the table, so I just had to kind of lure Willie over until he noticed it. Because I didn't have any way to like incentivize him to move over anymore. So, and then I couldn't escape pub in the first run, so that was a disaster.
Alright, so other than that, any notable moments or anything? Any comments you'd like to have on your own races there?
First half of that second run was incredible, all the way up to pub. I don't think I've ever gotten sub 7 final task at Back Garden.
You guys were actually so close that the garage door closed probably 2 seconds, 3 seconds away from each other.
Oh man.
Yeah, you guys kept it as a nail biter all the way through, as shown by how close the final scores ended up being.
I have to say I really did try to prepare a lot because I knew Ritz was going to be he's overtaken me in Hondo before.
Yeah.
So I had no doubts he was going to be a challenge.
I gotta admit, I haven't played Goose games since the last race, so I'm a little rusty.
Well,
Yeah,
congratulations.
I didn't account for that, but
best time.
So practice makes perfect, guys. Don't slack. Don't be like me.
All right, so for everyone watching, Ritzblues will be going on to face Shady Force in the losers bracket, like I said, we'll be seeing both these racers again no matter what. And then you, PhilTrout, actually, we don't know who you're going to face yet. It's going to be between Tasselflirt and Recult.
Oh, I'm probably gonna lose.
Yes.
I'm probably going to Goose's bracket my next
It's
match.
more than likely going to be Tasselflirt.
I think it's gonna be Tassel, and
it's rough both ways.
There's no way I can beat Tassel. There's no way. I'm gonna try, but there's no way.
You could always,
he
can
can
always
have a
get a
bad
denial
run.
service.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, right.
the only thing.
That's right. Have him host a 200-player multi-world of Ocarina of Time. That might be it.
That might be able to do it. Yep.
I
Well,
mean,
GG to both runners.
So, good match, Phil. Glad
yeah,
it was a close one.
Good match. Yeah, I like that.
And without further ado, thank you to everybody watching for watching some Goose Game. It'll be back on tomorrow. Let me get the schedule back up real quick. We'll be back on tomorrow, Thursday, February 27th at 7 a.m. Eastern Time for a match between Welwyn, the current world record holder, actually, versus Alleycat.
Ooh, that should be a good one.
Should be a good one.
Yeah, Ali's a good up-and-comer, so...
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm one of the persons who's recently bought me in a Glitchless.
So, thanks for the commentary, Hippo.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for having the races.
Yeah,
Oh, and honk.
Honk.
Honk.